Hello and welcome to my channel Regenerate. The perfect world where everybody has equal opportunity to obtain the merit and then be selected based on merit, that world doesn't exist for us. I started this channel as a working mom that was struggling with figuring out who I was in motherhood, career, and creative outlets, and trying to put attention towards myself and creativity to make myself a better person for my daughter and in my career. And I didn't expect to be talking about politics at all on this channel, but out of the only, handful of videos that I've put together, it turns out that they all are touching somewhat on this topic of politics. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about DEI and academics education. So recently the president has put a stop to DEI programs and suggested that companies and educational institutions do away with DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And that's on the grounds that there's this belief that they are discriminating. And that is not at all the intention of DEI programs. I am not a policymaker. I don't have any experience in working with politicians, and I am just an average person like most Americans out there. And I am coming from my own lived experience. So I just want to share my experience with the hopes that it will help other people out there who may be struggling to understand this. Historically, in the United States, the majority of positions of power have been held by white men. And at one point, that may have been somewhat reflective of the general population, but in today's world, that is not the case. And for the past several decades, there have been equal rights, equal opportunity movements that have been trying to remedy this situation, to make the leadership of the country reflective of the country's population, so that the people of America are getting their fair representation. And I believe that is the intent of DEI, to bring women and people of color and people with different abilities into positions of power so that they can understand and represent people like them. And when we have only white men in positions of power, there are the majority of the population not being represented and not being considered as high-level decisions are being made that in turn affect these people that have no choice or no say in matters that deeply affect them. So I think that DEI being done away with is a problem because we have not achieved what it was intended to do. And so if anything, it needs a doubling down on DEI and not a reversal of DEI. And I think that from my lived experience, the way that people get into positions in companies, in politics, is by who they know and not based on merits, which is the rationale for the current administration removing DEI, is that they think that people should be selected based on merit alone. And that's not the reality of how decisions are made. And that's obvious based on the people that the current administration is appointing, that they are not people that have the best experience. They are people that have the best relationship with the president. And I think that that very clearly obvious situation of what is happening with the president and who is being selected for certain roles and to make decisions is exactly why DEI is needed, and shows exactly what is going to happen without DEI. It is further enabling closing off the opportunities and positions of leadership to diverse populations. And I can say for myself, coming up in academics in a discipline that was primarily men, I studied engineering, that there was not enough female representation, that diversity is needed. And coming up through leadership in a company and being part of management in a company in biotech, biotech is one of the fields that has a lot of women in it, the technical fields that has a lot of women in it, and still there's not equal women in leadership in my field. So I see that there are issues here, and that the premise of hiring people based on merit is completely false. That is not how things are done. It is who you know, not what you know, and that is my lived experience. So I hope that different perspective is helpful for some of you out there that are questioning what's going on here and wondering maybe what's the problem with getting rid of DEI, and doesn't it make sense to hire people based on merit? Yeah, if that was the reality of what was done, then, and everybody had actually had equal opportunity, then sure, that would be the perfect world. But the perfect world where everybody has equal opportunity to obtain the merit and then be selected based on merit, that world doesn't exist for us right now. So DEI is needed to bring that diversity to positions of power and provide opportunity for people that wouldn't otherwise have opportunity because of who currently has the power. The other thing that I wanted to touch on today was education and the dismantling of, or proposed dismantling of, the education system. This administration has tried to fight the academic institutions in calling them, liberal elitists, and academic elitists and trying to create this divide with the things that are related to DEI and trying to completely erase anything about diversity, equity, inclusion, minority, trying to remove all of these words from the internet and from businesses' policies. And it's an erasal of history and of reality and facts. And the current administration plays a lot on emotions and these deeply held fears and not on reality. And I think that that is extremely dangerous because we as humans are so driven by emotion, and having emotion in the absence of education or facts will lead people to make decisions that don't actually benefit them because they don't understand what's happening. And I think that it's really important to be educated and know about history. And I myself have never been that interested in history. I am trying to learn now so that I can understand what's happening and prevent these opportunities from being taken away. And opportunities like education are so important. So, what I want to say about education and my lived experience in education is that working in an academic institution myself, I see every day researchers that are trying to develop new technologies to create accessibility for all people, to new technologies to help with the world's problems. So things like new treatments for diseases that affect a lot of people, like heart failure and cancer. And these inventions are not generally developed in companies. Companies eventually will take them and develop them for profit to help people. And it's really the ideas for these technologies that go into developing all of the state-of-the-art medical treatments and renewable energy and all of the things that we use today come from national labs and universities. And without universities, there will be less innovation, and the US will fall behind other countries. And I think that this dismantling of the educational system and blaming the educational system is a distraction and a effort to try and prevent people from understanding what is really happening here in this country and this administration, which is giving more power to the people who are in power and giving the opportunity for people that already have a lot, these billionaires, beyond a lot doesn't even begin to describe what $1 billion means, to give them more and take away from the general population. So to conclude, I think we need to support our educators. We need to support our education system. We need to have the opportunity to understand history and understand the reality of what is happening in our country today. And we need our leadership to reflect the general population, and the general population of the country needs to have a say in what the future of the country looks like. I'm just one voice, and I want to put my voice out there, and I hope that it helps other people be able to use their voice as well. And if you're interested in connecting and using our voices together, please do so. I would appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for watching.